like... Do that one more time. Hey everyone, so for today's video, I'm going to show you all the books that I read this past August. I know this video is a little bit late. I usually do these either the last week of the month or the first week of the next month, but I'd actually recorded this video before, and while I was editing, I didn't really like the flow of everything, so I just decided to do it all over again, which is why it got delayed, but better late than never. Alright, so I read 6 books this month, which is awesome. And the first book I read this month is Love is Strange. It's called Love is Strange, and it's a collection of 13 short stories from 13 different authors. And I honestly didn't really like this book that much. I only liked 2 or 3 out of all the stories that were written. Basically, they're just about paranormal romances. Some of them are more for mature audiences, and then some of them are just like plain love stories. But I honestly didn't get into like a lot of the stories. I didn't really connect with the characters that much. So yeah, if you want to check it out, go ahead, but I didn't really like it that much. The second book I read this month was Allegiant by Veronica Roth, and it is the 3rd book in her trilogy, the last one. And I know this came out a while ago, but I hadn't had the chance to buy it and read it, and I finally did this August. So when it first came out, I know that there was a lot of buzz around it for negative reasons, but I really tried to stay away from like the specifics and stuff because I didn't want any spoilers until I read the book. And I read it. I love it when authors write things from a different perspective. I love that. I think it's really fascinating. I didn't really like Tobias's point of view. I just thought he was this whiny little thing, and I didn't really like that. But in terms of the ending and stuff, I thought it really fit the character, and what happened at the end of it was totally fine. I just didn't really like Tobias's point of view. That I just thought that it didn't really suit his character from what I have read from him from the first 2 books. Next book I read was Beautiful Disaster by Jamie McGuire, and this is a new adult book which is catered towards like 18 and over, I think, around that age range. And I really like this book. I love the characters. It's about this girl named Abby, and she's just very like good girl, I guess, and then she meets Travis, who is kind of like the ultimate bad boy player kind of thing, and the story just goes on from there. And I really love the characters. I love Travis, and it was just a very interesting relationship, and I love how the author writes in Abby's point of view, and I think it's amazing. Next book I read was Keeping Her by Cora Carmack, and this is a little novella which ties in with Losing It, which is, what's their names? Oh my god, what are their names? Garrick and Bliss's story from Losing It. I picked this up because it was like $3.99 on Amazon, and I was like, okay, I want to know what happens next. I didn't like it. I thought that the story was going to go one way, and then as I was reading, it was going just a whole different direction, and I'm like, oh, well, that was very disappointing. So I kind of wish that I had just only read the novel and I didn't read this one. But, you know, it's $3.99, so I'm not going to complain. Next book I read was Walking Disaster by Jamie McGuire, and this is actually like a companion novel to Beautiful Disaster, but this time it's sold in Travis's point of view. And like I said before, I love it when authors write from different like point of views from the characters. So yeah, this was a very interesting read. The only thing that I would say is that because it's a companion novel, a lot of the things from the first novel, like the dialogue and stuff, is still the same. So I kind of wish that the author had dived into more of Travis's point of view and like his thought process, because I really wanted to get like more into his head. And a lot of this stuff was kind of repetitive, which I kind of expected since it was a companion novel. I just wish that it was a lot more into his mind rather than repetition of the first novel. And the last book I read this month was by Moira Young, and I don't know if it's a trilogy or a series. It's called Dustlands, and the first book is called Blood Red Road. And it's about this kind of world where it's kind of just wasteland left over by wreckers, which I assume is us. So this is set in the future, but like everything's just kind of going bad and like nothing is good in the world basically. And it's about this young girl named Saba whose twin brother gets kidnapped, and she goes on this kind of journey to get him back. Now, I have this really bad habit of when I pick up books, I read the back and I'm like, okay, I really like the stuff in the back of the book, so I'm going to pick it up. The premise seems fine, so I'm going to read it. That's my bad habit, and I'm trying to break it because I had no idea that the writing was very different in this book. So it's told from Saba's point of view, and the thing about it is that it is written in a very interesting dialect. A lot of the words are shortened and kind of different, and since it's from her point of view, the author chose to have also like all the descriptions and like the non-dialogue stuff in Saba's different dialect, and that just kind of jarred my mind because it was just very distracting while I was reading it. Towards the middle and the end, when like all this action-y stuff started happening, then I started getting into the book. But honestly, like the first half of the book, I had no idea if I would get through it because just the writing style was just so different and just kind of mind-boggling. Like I couldn't wrap my brain around it. So, honestly, I don't think I would read the rest of the books because I didn't find the writing style to be my cup of tea. But it's the dynamics and the characters are very, very interesting. It's just the writing style that just kind of throws me off. So I probably won't continue the series or trilogy, whatever this is. Alright, so that was the 6 books I read this past August. If you have read any of these books, please let me know in the comment section down below, and I'd love to talk about them with you all. Or if you're interested in any of these books, I'd love to know which one is the one you might pick up next. Alright, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you another time. Goodbye!